What's up, Hammerheads? Welcome back to the channel. We're in the home garage again, and you guessed it, we're working on the B6 Avant. The car is Delfin Gray, and I've been thinking about a name for the car. Delfin in German, this is a German car, Delfin in German is Delfin, so I don't know, sounds kind of like a good car name. Delfin sounds a little bit feminine. I usually name my cars girl names. German car, German name. Tell me what you think. If you think it's dumb, tell me that too. I want to hear it. But we're going to be working on this thing. I think we have kind of a fun one today. We're going to be ditching that factory airbox. Like I said in a previous video, the airboxes are actually really good. They do a good job. They provide plenty of airflow for the car, but it's an Audi, so they try to make it really, really quiet. You can't hear any induction noise. You can't hear the turbo at all. You wouldn't know that it even had a turbo if you didn't know. So we're going to be ripping the airbox out. We're going to be sticking a cone air filter in. I made a homemade heat shield to help, try to keep the intake air temperatures down a little bit. It's not really a cold air intake. It's more of a hot air intake, but being a turbo car, it has an intercooler, so it doesn't matter. So don't blast me in the comments telling me that there's all kinds of hot air going in my motor. I already know that. So let's get started. Also, I put a different flannel on for you today. I figured I'd spice it up a little. All right, so the factory air inlet, this two-piece tube right here. First step, we got to rip this out. You saw me take this out before. I already took the screws out. There's a screw there, screw there. Took them out already. Save you from the pain. You've seen me do this already. So here's the factory air box. The mass airflow sensor is right there. There's the connector there. We're going to be using the mass airflow sensor out of my other car because I already modified it to work without the factory air box. Now, there's all kinds of stupid emissions junk on here. This might eventually get deleted, but for now it's staying because I have to pass an emissions test in Beaver County, so we're going to leave all that in there for now. So I'm going to yank that factory airbox out, and we're going to get going with that. I'm going to put you on the stand and you can watch me. Alright, you're mostly going to need a T20 and a flat blade screwdriver. It's super easy. So, flat blade screwdriver. There's a hose clamp on your mass airflow sensor. Pull that hose clamp loose. I'm going to leave this mass airflow sensor with this airbox, I think, because I don't need it. I'm going to be reusing the other one. So, we're going to get this factory air inlet off of this intake, which should, pop right off. And there's also a goofy looking breather hose that comes up here. I think it actually comes from the diverter valve possibly. I'm not 100% sure where it comes from, but we need to take that off. And the clip for the mass airflow sensor. And that's one of those Audi electrical connectors that you have to push in, pull the tab, and pop it out. And then there's one screw right up here in the top of the airbox, holding this little pipe up there. And alright, so there's some screws on the side and a heat shield that we're going to have to take those out too. These are kind of a pain to get to, but if you pull this thing out hard enough, you ought to be able to get them. If you have a right angle attachment, that'll help you. I have one, but I don't even know where it is. Okay, so I think we only have to pull, dang it, we got to pull more. I did this on my old car, but I don't remember how I did it. So we're learning together today. Alright, I had to go to get a stubby screwdriver to fit down in here, and I'll show you why. Down in here, way down in there, you can kind of see one right there, and there's one back there, right beside the O2 sensor. They're hard to see, but they're down in there. We got to pull those. We got to get this heat shield off of here so we can get this factory air box released and out of the way. While I'm working on this, we can talk about cold air intakes. Cold air intakes are a weird marketing thing. Companies will say that their cold air intake will gain you all kinds of horsepower, and most of the time, it absolutely will not. If you have a V8 car or truck, it's a naturally aspirated vehicle, which means no turbo, no supercharger, none of that. A cold air intake might get you 10 to 15 horsepower, maybe. On a turbo car, it's not going to gain you a single thing. A cold air intake is going to let you hear the turbo, let you hear some induction noise, and you know, you hear that turbo making noise. It's inspiring. It sounds good. Maybe makes you drive a little bit quicker. Some people might say that's a bad thing, but there's a number of screws down in here that all have to come out. There's 4 that attach the heat shield, and then there's this metal tube, this small metal pipe on here that it has 2 screws on 2 little hangers that go into the airbox as well. So we got to pull 6 screws in total, and then we should be free. All right, all 6 screws out. Now there's all kinds of junk in the way, so go slow. Don't damage any of this stuff all around it, because you know, if you wrench one of these lines and you crack it or something, if you wrench a line and you crack it, or even a hose clamp comes loose, it could turn a check engine light on because of the emissions bullcrap. But here's the factory airbox. This thing's huge. There's all kinds of baffling. There's actually insulation inside of here to deaden the sound. So I don't want any of that. Like I said, this thing is actually really good, but we won't need it where we're going. So with that out of the way, there's all kinds of room in here now. Now, these lines, we're going to try to push these lines down. We're going to try to reroute them. Anything that we can even like get a zip tie on to hold it out of the way. Sorry, my filming was pretty awful right there. But these lines, they look like spaghetti mess right now. We're going to try to tuck them down. Sort of just bend them out of the way a little bit, get some zip ties on them to hold them, make them look as tidy as you can, and that'll be good for those for now. All right, found my zip ties. Get them at Harbor Freight. They're super cheap. They're just as good as anywhere else, and go crazy with them. You're not a good mechanic unless you use like 68,000 zip ties on every project that you have. So, like I said, those electrical wires and these little lines for the emission system, zip tie them out of your way, make them look tidy. And this is kind of a hack that most Audi people do for these things. You don't need a cold air intake. It's going to do absolutely nothing. So you can buy them. People sell them. People make them. They're really nice. They look good. You can get them in carbon fiber. all kinds of crazy stuff. They look really sharp. But you could do the exact same thing by yourself for infinitely cheaper. Alright, now we're going to put my custom-made heat shield in. This is the piece of metal off of the side of the factory airbox and some ductwork, guys. I bent this up, I spray painted it black. It's a little janky, but it looks okay. Maybe later down the road I'll get a nice piece of aluminum and bend it up and make it look like really nice. If this car gets to that level, we'll tidy it up, make it look good. But this works, so we're putting it in. Alright, so feed this thing right down in. And like I said, I had it in the other car, so it fits right in this car just fine. Couple of self-tapper hex heads to hold it in place. Good one. I had just two in the other car and it seemed to hold just fine, so I'm going to put just two in this. And there's so much of this thing hidden when everything's in here, you'll hardly even see it. So my ugly homemade heat shield, it'll actually look like half okay in here. It won't look too bad. And just me and like 27 of you will know about this, so who cares? Alright. Now, we've got this stuff kind of out of our way a little bit. I'm going to throw a couple more zip ties on just to try to keep everything neat and orderly. These things cost pennies, so use them up. Use a bunch of them, who cares, whatever. Alright, now, this is a mass airflow sensor. This is out of the other car. I modified this one to fit without an airbox. I left these tabs on here because if I ever sell the car and someone wants the factory airbox back, I don't want to cut these tabs off because they screw into the factory airbox. Yeah, you could clean this up, cut these tabs off. So the tabs, I'll hold it like that. It would look nicer, but for the sake of being able to go back to stock, we're leaving them on. Now, all mass airflow sensors have an arrow on them that will show you the direction of the airflow. Dang it, you guys can't see it. There it is right there. See that arrow? Focus, baby. There we go. Bosh and the arrow. That arrow points the way the air goes. So, the filter goes on the opposite side of the arrow. So take this. Now, this sits up in factory position. I'm going to spin it down and hide this connector because we don't have the factory airbox anymore, so we can put this wherever we want. So, I'm going to spin these wires down and tuck all this down so it's a little bit more low profile. You won't be able to see it down there. It'll all be hidden and look clean. Let me get my flathead. Sitting right here, dummy. Make sure you have your hose clamp in a position that's easy to get to. If you tighten this up in a weird position and can't get to it, you'll make your life a little bit more difficult later. Alright. Universal cone air filter. This is like Spectre. These are not really known to be incredibly good filters, but a cone filter is kind of a cone filter. The K&N ones, they're known to be really, really good, but they're also 3 times the price of this. And you'll notice a theme on the channel. Most of the stuff's going to be budget minded. Yeah, I could buy like a nicer, newer car. I could buy a K&N. But if you're getting 80% of the performance for, 40% of the money, it makes sense to me. Some stuff I'll buy top of the line, best stuff there is. Like this coil pack conversion kit that we put on before, that's from ECS Tuning. They make really, really good stuff, high quality. So for coil packs, you want high quality. An air filter, you go to Advanced, AutoZone, wherever, buy one off the shelf, and they're pretty good, really. They're pretty good filters. They're not junk, and they're a lot cheaper. So save yourself some pennies there, and you can put that money towards your next project. So this goes on just with another hose clamp. Feed it right down in here. Slide it on to tighten the living snot out of this one because it's a universal filter and it has these little like rubber adapter things in here. So you want to make sure you get this as absolutely tight and secure as you can because it's just friction that's holding it in place. So we're almost done here, guys. We're going to tighten this up. Get it tight. Don't super over tighten your hose clamp because they will strip out. It's just a cheap hose clamp. I think I actually. All right, we're going to stop right there. If I go any tighter, it's going to strip. So I think we're done. I think we're done with this project. Everything looks good. Heat shield looks better than you think it does, trust me. I'll show you in just a second. It doesn't look awful. Alright guys, here it is. So, got the air filter in there, and this little guy right here, like I said, it might go to the diverter valve. I'm not even 100% sure, but I found this tiny little, it's like a valve cover air breather, probably for like a V8 application, like an old school V8. But I threw that sucker on there because I'm not 100% sure what it does. I've never traced that hose down to find the other end, so it went to the factory airbox. I threw a little filter on it. Now, this piece is not going back in. It used to sit right there. There's absolutely nothing for it to even attach to now. But this other piece, we can actually put this back in and it will funnel air towards the filter. So it slips right down in there basically. I got to get it sitting in there and put the screws in. But it goes right back in there, and once that's in, I'll show you the final product, and I think it'll look pretty good. Alright, everything is in and everything is done. I put this tube back in. The air can go in here, and it'll come out this other end, and it will actually funnel cold air from the front of the car right towards that filter. Now, here's that janky heat shield. A little bit dark, so it's a struggle to see. See if I can get a little bit of light on it. Little cell phone light. But it's black, it's painted black, so it pretty much just goes away. There you can see it there a little bit better. Little heat shield made out of some ductwork. Doesn't look too bad, and we just did all of this for $40 maybe. Those filters are cheap. I had the ductwork laying around. Cheap, easy, cold air intake. $40 versus $300. I'm gonna go this route every time. So I'm gonna pull the car outside, fire it up, and see what it sounds like. Alright guys, we have Delfin outside now, and it's fired up. We're letting the motor warm up a little bit. Don't rev a cold motor. Don't fire your car up in a parking lot and rev it up because, you know, there's some chicks walking by, or you see some dude that you think he would think it'd be cool. Don't cold rev your motor. It's terrible for it. Let her warm up a minute. Show it a little bit of mechanical sympathy, and it'll run forever. So, show you again, out in the sun. Got that in there. Oh, if you hear an exhaust leak, don't blame me. There's an exhaust shop in Calcutta, Ohio that put a downpipe on this thing before I bought the car, and the downpipe tried to fall off the other day. I got 1 out of 3 of the bolts tightened back up, but it's going back for them to fix it on Tuesday. So I'm gonna rev the car up and you'll be able to hear the diverter valve now. So hopefully you guys heard that. I think it sounds pretty good. You get some turbo noise. Turbo noise is always good. You get that choo-choo flutter noise. Sounds cool. So that's gonna do it, guys. That's it for this episode. Brad wasn't here to help because he's got the brown bottle flu today. We know how that goes. But he's gonna edit this video. We're gonna get it up as soon as we can. And again, thanks for watching. If you want, subscribe. Tap the bell, select all, leave a comment, smash the like button, do all the stuff, do all the things that'll help me out greatly. And if you guys like these videos, it'll keep me going, it'll keep me inspired. In this little mod that we did today, you could do this to almost any car. You could cobble together your own cold air intake, hot air intake, whatever you want to call it. If you got a turbo car, I highly suggest doing it because you'll get those cool noises. It'll make you smile, and that's what cars are about. Screw miles per gallon. I'm all about the smiles per gallon. So thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you on the next one.